trade candidate of the day. And today's trade candidate is somebody that we have not talked about yet. I don't know that he's untouchable because, again, I'm not really sure what this team is doing. It's more so about what are you willing to give up to get him. I'm not talking about no Marcus Smart or no washed-up PG like Drew Holiday. Give me today on a Friday. Man, give me Immanuel Quickley. Immanuel Quickley. He is about to turn 26, okay, June 17th. So happy early birthday. Celebrity birthdays. First round, 25th pick in the draft in 2020. Went to Kentucky, which is always a good bet. Funny enough, he was drafted to the Thunder. He is now on the Toronto Raptors. He is 6'3". The dude can handle the rock. I think a lot of people just didn't pay attention to him once he got to Toronto, and when he was with the Knicks, they weren't really, really good. He's finished second in Sixth Man of the Year voting and also 10th. He is, like I said, 25 years old. Let's get to the points. Let's get to the stats. Now, there are some things that he makes me feel good about, some things that he doesn't make me feel good about.
Let's also get to the contract as well.
We're going to get to the contract, and that might be part of what I don't feel good about. So this is a little bit rough here. Okay, so he's dealt with some injuries, and the Raptors were hybrid tanking, not really sure. But you know what I say, under 50 games, I don't even like reading off the stats, but we're going to do it anyway. 33 games. Yeah, that's right, 33. 17 points per game, 3.5 rebounds per game. This is what I like, though, 5.8 assists per game, 42% from the field, 37.8% from three, 86.7% from the free throw line for his career. He's at 324 games, 14 points per game, 3.4 rebounds per game, 3.7 assists per game. Would like that to be a little higher. 42% from the field, 37% from three, 85% from the free throw line. So where did things kind of go squirrely with Immanuel Quickley? Obviously, he was part of that trade to get OG Anunoby. And I believe it was RJ Barrett as well. So you have Immanuel Quickley in 2023, 2024. He played 68 games, okay? And in that season, he averaged 17 points per game, 4.9 assists per game, so right below my threshold there. He took 6.4 threes per game and shot it at 39.5%. I love that. The season before, that's when he was second in six-man voting at 14.9 points per game. He averaged 3.4 assists per game. Obviously, he's coming off the bench there. 5.6 3-pointers per game. He shot it at 37%. That was when he was only 23 years old. Like I said, he's 25 now. I like him. Now let's get to, and look, the injury this season, besides that, he's played 64 games, 78 games, 81 games, and 68 games. Okay, so just one season here where things got a bit squirrely, and we get what's going on with the Raptors, so it's rough. It is rough. Let's get to the contract conversation. 5-year deal. 162.5. Don't forget that 0.5. I'll take that 0.5 right now. $1 million. 2025, 2026, he's owed $32.5 million. 26, 27, he's owed $32.5. It does not change. So that's a good thing. Doesn't go down, but it doesn't go up. So that's pretty hardy for Immanuel Quickley. But he is going to be 26. He fits the timeline. I think he hasn't really had a chance to play winning basketball. And look, he's not going to be a menace defensively, but I believe that he is a guy you can fit into an offense with Domantas Sabonis, with Zach LaVine, and be that creator that the Kings are missing. Okay? Be that creator that the Kings are missing. So I am moving toward a yes in that category. Now, again, we've already done Kobe White, so I can't talk about Kobe White every single day because that's who I would get in this situation. You can make the argument, Allen, isn't Immanuel Quickley on your list of Darius Garlands? Isn't he just a different version of Darius Garland? You ain't wrong, but we already talked about Darius Garland. This is if you like a more electric point guard. These are all these electric point guards that are getting paid a little bit more, getting paid more than the Kobe Whites of the world and a lot more than the Colin Sextons of the world. You're essentially paying because he is just now getting into his prime. And again, these rookie extensions essentially are saying, we think you are going to be worth this at some point. So it comes down to what you think Immanuel Quickley is going to be worth at some point. And I think that he is a pretty darn good player. And I see some crazy texts coming in as far as Quickley is concerned. And before you text in crazy, just ask yourself and tell me how much you watched Quickley play in Toronto. And maybe we're going back to what he did in New York. So I feel like it is an avenue. Is it my first choice? No. But I'm tired of talking about Marcus Smart and these dudes that are closer to my age than the rookies that are coming up. All right, I want to talk about somebody that's closer to the rookies' age than myself. All right, so here is the main trade that I cooked up, and the money works because the Kings can take on a little bit of it. The Raptors would get off a pretty hardy contract, and they would have a bit of a homecoming. They would also get a guard in return. Okay, so the Kings would get Immanuel Quickley. The Raptors would get DeMar DeRozan, Devin Carter, and depending on what you feel about Devin Carter, some version of a very protected pick or a pick swap. So DeMar DeRozan, Devin Carter, and maybe you're good there. Maybe I don't know how the Raptors or anybody views Devin Carter. So DeMar DeRozan, Devin Carter, maybe a pick swap or a second rounder or something, depending on, obviously it wouldn't be a crazy first rounder because you're getting Devin Carter, but DeMar DeRozan, Devin Carter, and something else for Immanuel Quickley. If you are the Raptors, you're forcing Brandon Ingram to, kind of grow his game because it might come off a little bit redundant with DeMar DeRozan and Brandon Ingram, but I think you're kind of paying Brandon Ingram to have to expand his game anyway. So you go get a bucket getter. I think that puts you into the conversation of, a 5 or 6 seed in the East. Again, you missed out on Giannis because Giannis is deciding to stay in Milwaukee. That's what reports are starting to say. Kevin Durant, I don't even think the Raptors are being mentioned with Kevin Durant. So, all right, what are we going to do? Are we just going to power through with Grady Dick and Scotty Barnes, or are we going to try to add a DeMar DeRozan? And, it could sound crazy, but DeMar DeRozan could come off that bench. It might sound crazy because the Raptors didn't even make the playoffs. DeMar DeRozan could come off that bench, and it would be for, I think, possibly the greater good of the Raptors team. So that's the first one I cooked up. I think there is a world where there's a 3-team trade involved, and maybe you see Trae Young get moved to the Raptors if they really want to go all in. And like I said, they don't get a Kevin Durant or a Giannis. I could see Trae a 3-team deal where the Hawks are getting some young talent and picks. Maybe that's a situation where a Keon Ellis comes up, and maybe you don't want to give up Keon Ellis for Immanuel Quickley. That's completely fine. But I could see a 3-team deal where Trae Young makes his way to the 6 to Toronto. Immanuel Quickley is in Sacramento, and the Hawks basically get more young talent because what the heck are they doing anyway? That first one, Ramsey, I know it's a little bit confusing because that third asset matters a lot. So let's just put on purple glasses here and say Immanuel Quickley for DeMar DeRozan, Devin Carter, and a second-round pick. Let's go.
For me, dog, I don't think it was.
That's a no for me, dog.
What I'm learning as we're doing these shows together, you really are valuing DeMar DeRozan a lot.
That, to me, I don't know what Immanuel Quickley really is. I mean, he's had some he's had some games with Toronto, and I think they value him more than a lot of teams do. Mm-hmm. I don't know what Immanuel Quickley is.
But you're paying, and that's the gamble. That's why maybe you're cool at a DeRozan, Devin in second, because, hey, Toronto, I can't give you anything else because I don't know what I don't know if he's ever going to be worth $32 million.
And for me, I'm going to use a Chris Rock line about Immanuel Quickley. Good Lord, that's a lot of money. I don't know if I'm willing to take him on as a point guard at $32 million, not knowing exactly what he's going to truly give you.
I understand where you're coming from, and then here's how we'll do it, right? You look at you look at the different players and what they're making yearly, okay? When you get to the 32s, it is kind of crazy. So when you're paying for what you think he's going to be, right? So here's some of the 32s, okay? You have, and it's confusing because this stuff changes so much, but some of the 32s I'm on Spot Track right now, you have Tyler Hero's at 30, Suggs is at 30, Jared Allen's at 30, Chris Middleton's at 31. Good Lord. Jamal Murray, and some of these guys are up for extensions. Jamal Murray at 31, Ingram, he hasn't started his new deal yet, at 31, Jeremy Grant at 32, Pool Party's at 32, Immanuel Quickley. And that's what's so crazy. Pool Party is at 32, and Pool Party is younger than Immanuel Quickley. Then you get your De'Aaron Fox, who's looking for an extension, of course, but De'Aaron Fox right now is low 30s. He hasn't done what De'Aaron Fox has done.
No.
Right? And now De'Aaron Fox is looking for that extension. It's a tough one, man. It's a tough one.
I mean,
it does seem like a lot of money.
I mean, there's some names you named in that list. Obviously, you take over Immanuel Quickley in a heartbeat because they've proven themselves.
All these guys are up for extensions too, but Bam is at 32, right? So they're not. What my point is, they're not going to be making that.
Yeah, and the names that would compare right across the lines that you named, that obviously most people would take over Immanuel Quickley, the Jamal Murray, the Tyler Heroes, the De'Aaron Foxes. Yeah, I mean, and again, as you said, they're all extension eligible, but if you had to ask me, if you ask somebody about that, they'll take all three of them over Immanuel Quickley in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jason Tatum obviously is about to be making $60 million.
Get well soon,
right? With these, yeah, for real, $60 million. Evan Mobley, 53. These are all the kind of 25, the projections and what has the contracts that start in 2025. You got Evan Mobley, they're in the 50s. And then when you get to the 30s now, it's so funny. You got Jalen Johnson at 30, and there's not much else in that 30 range I'm seeing here.
And Jalen Johnson's another one coming off injury as well.
But and the Jalen Green conversation, right, is an interesting one. Who's better, Jalen Green or Immanuel Quickley?
Exactly. Neither one of them have taken their full NBA leap, NBA stride yet, so we don't know.
Yeah. Jalen right now, Jalen Green, they're both on the same contract. Jalen Green making a little bit more at $33 million.
Shout out Fresno.
Jalen Green is 23 though. A couple years younger. He is making more money. This is a difficult one. And you know what? Funny enough, I was waiting for somebody to say this because I felt the same way watching this guy play. 916 says a younger Monk will not help this team. Horrible trade. He does play a lot like Malik Monk. He does. I can't even front.
They came from the same ilk, came from the same cloth. Kentucky, Calipari.
Yeah.
I get the inferences.
I think he's got a higher ceiling than Monk for what it's worth, though.
And the one thing that Calipari has been known to do, or was known to do at Kentucky, I don't know about his time now at Arkansas, but he has admitted to where he hasn't used players correctly in their roles when he was at Kentucky. I mean, case in point is a player that the Kings all love, Scalabissieri. Was like, yeah, I didn't use him right when he was with me in Kentucky. And there's probably more than one case of players like that Cal has had that potentially have done more as they took the next step, or maybe have done less. We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, but I hear you, 916. He does remind me of Malik Monk. Just a little bit. Would I do the deal if it's a second? So DeMar DeRozan, Devin Carter, and a second round pick. Would I do that deal? I would probably do the deal. Again, DeMar DeRozan is taking his talents elsewhere. Devin Carter is really about how good do you think Devin Carter is going to be? Because the second round pick is fine, but how good do you think Devin Carter is going to be, or how low are you on Immanuel Quickley?
And we don't know about Devin Carter due to the injury.
That's why I'm willing to do it.
That we knew he had to endure until January. So, how much patience do you have to see what Devin Carter is one way or the other? I don't know. I'd like to give him potentially the benefit of the doubt to at least try to showcase himself for a minute in Sacramento, but that's another Scott Perry decision that's above my pay grade.
But to me, again, and here's my caveat, happens once a show. If you are not blowing it up, I would do this deal. You go get PJ Washington as well. And again, it's the same version, right? It's your PJ Washington and enter not elite point guard, but at least you could say Immanuel Quickley could get there. I don't know that he's not. I can't definitively say that he's not. Now you're paying him like he already pretty damn close. I get that. And I would still say my Kobe Whites, holla at me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Kobe White and heartbeat.
My Colin Sextons, holla at me. But if that's not going to work for you, or you're not able to get some of those guys, the Chris Paul conversations, if you want to have those, and Tyus Jones, you're just going to be looking in a couple more
and
years.
We can even throw Russell Westbrook in that conversation because he just declined his option. But real quick, as you said, PJ Washington, I need Najee Marshall as well in some form of a deal from Dallas.
Yeah. And you get those two guys, and you get Immanuel Quickley. This is the world we're living in, people. This is the world we're living in. Now, you don't have to pay. I'm not saying you have to pay Immanuel Quickley, but if the reports are correct that the Trae Young thing is probably not going to happen, Scott Perry is not big on Trae Young, then we're looking around, and I guess to that point, the argument is, well, Alan, didn't you say you'd rather just go cheap than overpay for a Darius Garland variant? You're right, but we had to go through the trade candidate conversation, and when I go through these trade candidate conversations, I'm going through them as if it's this or running it back. I'm not saying there are other options that I would rather do, but I look at this as this or run it back. That's how I operate in these situations. On the other side, we have another proposed trade from Fadeaway World as the Kings get somebody that was projected